Sorry, I just realized my sound was mute. Okay. So inshallah, we are going to discuss the theory of Sayyid al-Sistani, how Sayyid al-Sistani responds to the theory of Sayyid Alkhoei of the sharing of the night. Just a quick reminder, first of all, let's see. Okay. Anyhow, so Sayyid Alkhoei Quddasa Sirruh says that the hadith which tells us, 4 Sahih hadith, which tells us that if the moon is sighted in a place, you can take their sighting. This is absolute hadith. There is no restrictions. So from where do the restrictions come? He says there's no restriction. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, they said, if somewhere is sighted, you can. Now, what is the criteria? In those days, they could see their own sighting, and the cities which were in the reach to their cities faster, closer. So they would go with the cities around them, because Imam alayhi salatu wasalam said you can take the sighting of another city. You don't have to stick to this. If there was no sighting in your city, you can take. Now this, how far, this is the question. This is the historical question which we have. How far can one go to take the sighting from other city? That is the main biggest question. Hadith did not say sharing of the night. Hadith did not say sunsets. Hadith did not say. Our ulamas throughout the history, they used their ijtihad. They used their analysis. They brought science into those people who are saying our maraja, they are behind. These people are retarded who they think our maraja are like that. Our maraja, they use scientific data in this. And you will be astonished today to see how Sayyid Sistani Damahullah is very aware about this. Ayatollah al-Uzma Sayyid Ali Sistani is an observatory in Qom. And they bought the most expensive telescope in Iran from Germany to be kept in his observatory outside the Qom. So anyhow, so they get the, whenever there is scientific fact, they use it. The Quran is directing us towards scientific facts. So it is wrong when they say that our maraja, they are like behind 1,000 years. No, they are using whatever. But there is a small technical problem. Sayyid Sistani is very cautious about using scientific data or scientific knowledge or scientific equipments when it might lead to complications. Like what? Like we were sitting with Sayyid Sistani Damahullah, and one of the Zairin with us, he said that I have a question. I said, Sayyidina, he has a question. So please go ahead. So he said, Sayyidina, why don't you allow use of telescope? Okay. So our Maharaja, they differ. Some they allow, they don't. Now look, Sayyid Sistani, this was a basic answer according to basic setup. Inshallah, we have a session on telescope by itself. Why technology is not being used. There's a difference between technology being used. There's a bit, another issue is science being used. Science is being used. But for the use of technology, there's a big problem there. What is the problem? Sayyid Sistani told him, let's say you have a tank of water, okay? A tank of water. A drop of urine went inside, okay? So it will be najis or pure. It's pure because plenty of water, more than kur. So even a drop of urine is inside, it got dissolved, so there's no traces of urine, no smell. So he said, Sayyid Sistani says, if you will bring microscope and technology devices and you'll check out, will you find molecules of urine or not? He said, yes, there will be. He said, so if I will ask you guys to observe telescope in defining the najasat, won't the life be difficult for you? That swimming pool, when people, they swim in the swimming pool, You don't know how many people have discharged their urine inside. The hidden crimes. Everybody commits a crime, nobody realizes. Nobody's watching, let it go. And then, so nobody observes there is a crime being committed, urination being done in the swimming pool. So if you would have told to use microscope, you will find the change in the properties, molecular properties. Then it will be difficult in hardship. That's number one. So number one, it will become very difficult for the people to live their life if we bring micro technology and those kind of things. Number one. And the Sharia came to keep easy on people. Keep the Sharia easy. Okay, not too complicated, difficult. Number one. Number two, people, they are not able to reach out to this many sophisticated technological equipments. Okay, so we are going to put them in hardship. Everybody will have to put a microscope, a laboratory in their house, chemotherapy machines or chematography analysis. That means you check out, you put in this machine, oh, there is urine in the water, we can't use this water. First of all, it would be difficult on people. Everything will be najis. Number two, it would be complicated on everyone to get the heavy sophisticated equipment. So Sayyid Sistani Damadullah has this direction. I have heard him from several places, several times. He said, Sharia came to ease up. So we leave the laws easily applicable to every single human on the face of earth who has proper senses. Like the Fajr issue in the summer, Sayyid Al-Khamenei and some Mujtahidin, they say that you can you check the mid of the day and mid of the night and check the distance and this and that. And then you define your Fajr when we don't have a real Fajr, when the sun does not go below 16 degrees or 14 degrees or whatever degrees are defined by your community for the Fajr. So it's just hanging below the horizon. So in that case, what does he say? Just look with your eyes. Whenever the whiteness starts, that's it. Do I have to define micro definition that the sun moves from the below midline and then? He says, no, just look with your naked eye. You found out the whiteness is starting, it's Fajr for you. You found out whiteness is not starting, it's not Fajr for you. The brightness, after the maximum darkness, when the brightness starts, that's Fajr. Look with your own eyes. I personally asked him 2 times in 2 different visits. He said, look with your personal eyes. Everybody can look. It's not something just a marja or just an organization, institution. So even he says that the moonsighting issues as well. Sharia, people, they need to practice this time of salat. So Sharia told them, look in the sky. That's your, if it's not, if you doubt it is time or not, it is not your time. Unless you are certain, don't go with your doubt. So the Sharia was made easy. But then now, people, they want to make it complicated. Equipments and this and that and chematography machines and bring chematography machines in the houses and all those kind of problems. Will make life as hell. You already have life almost like hell. Now, to bring more equipments, more. No, Sharia told you, if you doubt, it is pure. Everything we doubt in its najasat, it's pure. Until you are sure that it's najas. You don't know, you are responsible or not. You are not responsible unless you know that the time has set. You don't know that the Eid is there or not. So you complete the holy month of Ramadan. And then you complete 30 days, unless if you are sure that the moon was sighted. So that these kind of criteria, Sayyid Sistani Damadullah indicates that these all indicate that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to keep the Sharia easy, implemented by everybody who has normal senses, who can realize the timing and the dates and everything. مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ الدِّينِ يُسْرٌ. Deen is easy, not difficult, not complicated, not hardship. Deen yusr, la usra fihi. There is no complication. So that is number 1. Now, another thing, last week, we mentioned the moon sighting. So we said that there has been development. The more the communities, they get connected with faster means of communication and traveling, the more this question comes us. Imam said, you can, in the context of this 4 hadith, you can follow the sighting of other city. What is the criteria of this other city? This is where the question, the golden question is, what is the criteria? And this is why the differences of our maraja are. Because Imam alayhi wasallam did not mention the criteria. They kept it absolute. So that's why the more they started to travel, they said, okay, this community, this city, we can travel and still we can get their sighting. I'm not going to go into details. Please go back to my last week's lectures uploaded on the Facebook and the YouTube and on our website. So there is like a city where I can reach before Fajr. I can find out that yes, that city they have Eid. Enough time for me to go and come back, or enough time for that person's person from that city can come, and my person from this city can go there. They do not have telephones and all these kind of things. So enough time that the communication can happen before the day of Eid. So they said, okay, the communities which they shared the sunset. And I said this was later, after the Imam's 600 Hijrah, 700 Hijrah. He said Sheikh Tusi Dua and 400. He pointed out, but he did not make it as a ruling. But then the Hilli's time, year 700, this issue came. And then the more we started to have communication system faster, see how our Hausa is developing with the development of the things surrounding us. So what happened? We had telegram when we were kids, we used to have telegram. We have this long distance phone calls. So we could find out from different distant parts of the world, the moon sighting. So here came the new issue. S Alkhoei's time and his students, they lived the time of telegram and phone calls. So people could know that another city has moon has been sighted there. So they could take the other. And this city could go as far as you want, because you could get a telephone call from the east of the world for the west of the world. So you're noticing how S Alkhoei's theory came in a time where they were able to communicate. Now, so S Alkhoei gave this theory. Okay, as long as before he said, wherever. We explained this. Then there was a problem in whenever. You can't keep it absolute. So he had to restrict it. Say, wherever the night share. Why? Because there's a dome of the night. So all the cities underneath this dome of the night, this whole region is considered one region. So if it is sighted here, it's sighted here. It's good for here. If it's in the west, it's good for the east as well. So it's one region, one night region. Okay, wherever the night shares with the city of, even if it was all the way far in the east, as long as the night is shared. So this was, and in this time, we did not have these computers in a way and these moon sighting curves and all which we are going to see today. It was not in that time. So he did not elaborate. All what he had is calculations. And as I said, he was an algebraian. He was a mathematician. He was one of the top mathematicians. So he was able to define the areas where the probability could be there. But he did not look at the whole world. But when these moon sighting curves came out, we found out that not all the earth has this sightable condition, sightable position. There are areas on the earth, the moon cannot be sighted. It's not in a sightable position. It's not in a sightable position. So how then the question comes to S Alkhoei, Sayyidina, you said sharing of the night. Now this area, like northern Scandinavia, they share the night, or some areas of Scandinavia, but there was no probability of moon sighting. So still can they, or no? It has to be in a probable condition. This S Alkhoei did not elaborate. his wordings indicate certain to some of his students. Some other students, they say, no, 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 no. It was totally something new. It was not in the time of Sayyid Alkhoei. So that's why many people, some of the Mujtahideen, they say, even if you follow Sayyid Alkhoei in Moonsighting, refer to Sayyid Sistani, because Sayyid Sistani was exposed to most modern theories in the astronomical era, and he has his Moonsighting observatory, astronomical observatory. So this is just some of the Mujtahideen. In the Moonsighting, just follow Sayyid Sistani, because he's more advanced. Sayyid Alkhoei had his Hausa education, but not these computer drawings, and it shows, indicates where moon can be sighted. These were not there in the time of, say, the computers were, which I got my first computer in 1994, 1995, something like that. And even these moon sighting curves were not there. So therefore, the thing is that the resources to Sayyid Alkhoei were not sufficient that he could give a clear direction and say, yes, even if it was, the moon was not in a sightable position. He said, even if the moon was not seen, okay, due to the barrier, due to the external factors, focus on this, even if the moon was not seen due to the external factors, it shares the night, you get it. Now these external factors, he mentions, like barriers, mountains, dust, cloud, rain, strong sun ray. Before Maghrib, we want to sight the moon. The moon is there. After Maghrib, it sets down. That means after Maghrib it was there, but after Maghrib, like 5-10 minutes is gone. So that means it was there, but I couldn't see it. The ray was very strong. And after Maghrib, it started to become faded. I couldn't see. So both, but in my neighboring city, they saw, who shares with me the night. So this is due to the sun ray. So what does Sayyid Alkhoei mentions? External factors like that. But Sayyid Alkhoei did not mention, you can also follow even if the moon was not in a sightable position. Sightable position. That is the key question for the followers of Sayyid Alkhoei. What is the limitation of the sharing of the night? Absolutely, whether the moon is in the sightable condition or the moon is not in the sightable condition. Or the moon, no, the astronomical probability is there. However, because of the barriers. So this, yes, but if the moon was not there in your sky and you shared the night, could you follow or not? So that is what some they understand. Yes, Sayyid Alkhoei said it absolutely. Some say no. Sayyid Alkhoei said only. So there is a kind of difference of opinion in how to because Sayyid Alkhoei is not here now, rahmatullah alayh. So there is a difference of opinion from the students of Sayyid Alkhoei in how to understand this sharing of the night. It is inclusive to the places where astronomical, the moon is not sightable or not. This is the question. Yes, it is inclusive to the wherever astronomical sightable, there's no doubt in it. But we are talking about places where, so this is one of the issues which were raised against the fatwa of Sayyid Alkhoei. So now we are going to see, sum up the, let me just go and share the slides. Okay, so basically we have three theories. Theory of Sayyid Alkhoei, okay, a theory, old theory, absolute, wherever you found out moon has been sighted, even if they're far close, hadith did not mention anything. And there was no need, so it's an absolute. So we can see the development. Then closest cities which share the sunset. And that is the most popular theory between majority of the Maraja. But it had flaws in it. Okay, so then we came to the theory of S Alkhoei, which was ironclad in his time and most powerful according to the resources he had. But then there was a development. S Sistani went back to the mashhur popular theory, but used scientific data in it, used scientific knowledge in it. So it went more advanced. There are people, they think S Sistani has gone all the way back. It's opposite. S Sistani, you are going to see today, he's using scientific resources. You'll be baffled. You'll be baffled by the capacity and the ability of S Sistani, Damadullah. I was baffled, by the way, when I asked Mujtahideen. Some they say S Alkhoei is strong, some say, but when looking at the arguments of how S Sistani and comparing with S Alkhoei is scientific aspect. So I'm not a Mujtahid, but I'm a scientist, so I can compare the scientific aspects in between both of them. So the sharing of the night, the moon is not in my sky. So should I share the night? There's no scientific probability of the moon to be sighted. So that because of the lack of resources, that point was not presented by S Alkhoei. But now, as I said, that the living, they can enjoy rebuttaling the deceased Maharaja. But how if S Alkhoei was alive? He might have shattered and battered S Sistani's argument, okay? And he might have brought exclusion, exemptions, yes, no, something, and made his theory back again ironclad. Like S Sistani fixed the theory of Mashhur. S Alkhoei, if he's back, he would fix his theory also. These are giants, okay? So we cannot underestimate S Alkhoei and he's dead. So let him be alive, and then one can say, oh no. So S Alkhoei, Qaddasa Sirruh, S Sistani went back to the Mashhur and responded to the argument of S Alkhoei and added a lot of scientific data. So that is the most modern theory of moonsighting. And then there's third theory, Sayyid Muhammad Sa'id al-Hakim, which we are going to take next week or the week after, inshallah. He says, why are we looking at the sky? Why are you saying that the sky shares the night, or the sky shares the sunset, or the sky shares the probability of moon being sighted? Like Sayyid Sistani. Sayyid Sistani says, wherever it is sighted, after it, the western regions, if there is same probability of sighting where the city of sighted or more, then they can follow the city in the east which was sighted. So the more you go in the west, he says, the more it becomes stronger and higher and clearer, the moon. So if it was sighted here, then it has to be sighted there, unless if the mountains barriers did not, or no one sighted there, no one came. But if the sky was clear, like Najaf they sighted, but then in Turkey, which had the same horizon of moon sighting, same curve of moon sighting, falls under the same zone of Najaf al-Ashraf. So Turkey must sight it clearly. The skies were clear, no mountains were there, no nothing, anything in an area plane. They did not sight. What does that indicate? That means sighting of Najaf had problems in it. Okay? So say this Sistani says, if it's sighted in Najaf, the regions where they share the moon sighting parameters in the western region, they can follow Najaf because they have to have more clearer. If they did not sight and the skies were clear, then we say Sayyidina, the sighting of the Najaf had a problem in it. How can, he says it is impossible if this Najaf sighted and the parameters of Najaf are same or more for the regions in the west, they have to sight astronomically. If they don't sight, then there's a problem in the sighting of Najaf, or there was a problem, they were not able to sight, there were no people they went for sighting, or mountains, barriers, these kind of things. So this is the modern theory that Sayyid Sistani includes, the ufuq, The horizon for Sayyidi Sistani is wherever the moon sighting parameters are similar or stronger or more than the place where the moon was sighted. Then you don't have to sight there. You can just follow astronomical calculations. Again, I'll repeat this, Sayyidi Sistani. The parameters of moon sighting. Okay, so it focuses on the scientific parameters, not on the sunset, not on the sunrise, no, neither on the night. These are all not black and white. These are all blanket. They're all overlapping things in it. We are going to explain. Sayyidi Sistani is very careful. Focuses only on the moon. He says, if the moon sighting parameters in the regions in the west of Najaf, for example, which is in the east of West Turkey, moon sighting parameters are same or more better, then that is the ufuq in the book of Sayyidi Sistani, Damadullah. The parameter, and that is the most clearest direction I have ever seen in the arguments of the scholars when they talk about the moon sighting. Even those who said that we take astronomically, they did not pay attention to this unique point which Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah has pointed out. Moon, we are looking for the moon. Okay, if the moon has same parameters of your region and it's in the west, so why not in the east? If it's too far away, you cannot. Why? Because the star, we don't know where did it start, the first moon sighting. What were the parameters? Were they strong or not? But if they were close, that means the parameters of moon sighting in the east, the city was close enough that they were less, but they were very close to your parameters. That means if you saw here, they cannot miss it. They must have seen. So it requires closeness in the eastern areas. Because you go much far, that means the moon gets much smaller and smaller. It's a very scientific, unique observation. Unfortunately, these details are not in the book of law. It is in this book, which is detailed discussion about moon sighting in response to Sayyid Alkhoei RA in discussion. So Sayyid Muhammad, Mashhur, they said sharing of the sunrise, the regions they share, they can follow. Sayyid Alkhoei, no, sharing of the night, broader due to the necessities of the time. Sayyidi Sistani went back, narrow and broad. Narrow in a sense, wherever the moon sighting parameters. So Sayyidi Sistani is looking at the moon sighting parameters. That is what is ufuq for Sayyidi Sistani, horizon. So moon sighting parameters. And then Sayyid Muhammad Sa'id al-Hakim, he says, why are you looking at the sunset? Why are you looking at the sky? The moon was sighted in Najaf. Najaf is on the ground, land, and the moon and the land is totally connected with all the lands. So this land is connected with the land, like they say, jawbone is connected with the neck bone. So all these lands are connected as long as there's no vast ocean. So we are going to see his argument as well. So let's go to the slide number 1. So now some of the questions, some of the students of Sayyid Alkhoei raised on Sayyid Alkhoei in this issue, because Sayyid Alkhoei wanted one night, inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr, one night of qadr. So no multiplicity of the night of qadr, no multiplicity of the Eid. Why Sayyidina? He said, because Allahumma inni as'aluka bihaqqi hadha al-yawm. Yesterday we recited the qunut. By the sake of this day, not these days. So the knowledge of Allah, Eid day is one. In the knowledge of Allah, Laylatul Qadr is one. And Quran was descended on one night, not the night of Sweden and night of Najaf and night, every night Quran descended. For the Najafians, Quran decided this Saturday. For the Swedish people, Quran was descended back again, went up and came back again on the, so Sayyid Alkhoei said, one night, one day of Eid. And he also brought this scientific thing. Remember our moon? He said that when the moon comes out for the whole people of the earth. Everyone on the earth can sight the moon. Okay? Is this clear? Don't focus on this, focus on this. It's a nice smell if you are curious about the smell, but now let's focus on this, okay? Someone told me last week, we wonder what was the thing he used. Moon behind the shadow. Sayyid Alkhoei said the moment it comes out for all the people of the earth. So if it comes out in a citable position, that means then it cannot disappear back again. In a citable position. So that is it. So for whole people of the earth. So whether they see it, they don't see it. So if some regions they see it, it's enough for the whole people of the earth. Then there was a problem of just leaving it like that, like one of the Mujtahidin did, you see, and then he had to put the sharing of the night. Then Sayyid Alkhoei, to avoid that problem, he said, if one region is sighted, another region should share the night. That was last week. Now, the students, they say, Sayyidina, may Allah bless you with the great knowledge you had given us, Sayyidina Rahmatullah alayhi, Quddis Sirruk, Sayyidina Alkhoei, Sayyidina Al-Ustad, Sayyidina Al-Habib. This is waqi'an, in reality. So, Sayyidina, are we responsible? This is the question. For the real laws, or are we responsible for whatever appears to us, zahiri, apparent to us? And how does it become apparent? Through knowledge and through satisfaction. Okay. So Sayyid Alkhoei in many places he mentions knowledge is hujjah. So if you don't have knowledge, you are not responsible. Okay, Sayyidina. Are you with me? Knowledge is proof. The moon is there in the reality, in the realm of reality, hukm al-waqi'i, alam al-waqi'i, in waqi'. But for me, I don't know whether it is in the citable condition or not. Okay? So for me, I have to wait for the moon sighting or the astronomical calculations if they were strong, according to Sayyid Alkhoei. So astronomical calculations, if they were satisfactory or there was a moon sighting, then I will know. Okay, let's check out. Again, what is Sayyid Alkhoei trying to say? No multiplicity, one Eid, one night of Qadr. What are students trying to say? No, Sayyidina. Your laws say the knowledge. Without knowledge, you're not responsible for hukm al-waqi'i, for the reality. You are responsible for whatever appears to you through knowledge and satisfaction. So Sayyidina, if it is going to be on my knowledge, I did not get knowledge. Others got knowledge. So there's going to be multiple Eid and multiple Laylatul Qadr. So our responsibilities will be different. More than that, astronomical satisfaction. Some scholars, they have satisfaction on astronomical readings. Some scholars, they don't have it. So in that case, what will happen, Sayyidina? Okay, the person with satisfaction is Eid for him. The person who doesn't have satisfaction is not Eid for him. The person who has satisfaction that the moon is sighted in a sharing of the night region and is satisfied by the moon sighting, they have to follow. It is Eid for them. For those who don't have satisfaction, not Eid. So don't we have to Eid, Sayyidina, if you are going to put everything on knowledge and satisfaction, then we are not responsible for the moon coming out of the shadow, according to your theory, Sayyidina. According to your theory, Sayyidina, we are not responsible. That's why what happens every year in the holy month of Ramadan, we have problems with Alkhoei Foundation in London. So what is the problem? So Alkhoei Foundation, so in Brazil and Chile, those places in South America and some places, they see the moon. They have moon sighting. But there are small communities of Shia. So we have some scholars, Shia scholars, they know those Shia scholars there very closely. They studied together in Qom. They know how God-fearing, God-cautious they are. But Alkhoei Foundation scholars, they don't know them. Okay, so Alkhoei Foundation, so these scholars, they announce tomorrow is Eid based on Sayyid Alkhoei. Alkhoei Foundation say that has not been proven yet. So Alkhoei followers, they get confused. So what do we do? Should we follow these? So Sayyid Alkhoei by himself said, first of all, عدم الثبوت لا يعارض الثبوت. Alkhoei Foundation says it's not proven to us. It's not proven to us doesn't mean it is impossible to be proven. It cannot conflict the citing. So if you have citing, you have scholars, they are witnessing, they are confirming the citing was done properly, then if you have satisfaction, then you don't follow Alkhoei Foundation, you follow Sayyid Alkhoei. Alkhoei Foundation have their responsibility. If they don't know the scholars there, they don't want to take the responsibility. If you know the scholars there, you take the responsibility. For you, it is going to be haram to fast tomorrow. And for Alkhoei Foundation, it is going to be haram to make Eid tomorrow. So people sometimes they, Alkhoei Foundation, well, ask Alkhoei Foundation. I asked one of the years and they said that, Sheikhna, we don't know these shuyukhs who have confirmed the moonsighting, and that's why we cannot be, they have the right. That's what Sayyid Alkhoei says, satisfaction. Okay, so they are also following rules of Sayyid Alkhoei. And these scholars who are following also the rules of Sayyid Alkhoei, who know these scholars. So they have satisfaction there. So Sayyidina Alkhoei, there is a multiplicity in Eid or not. If you put satisfaction, then we are going to have 2 Eids. And we are going to have 2 nights of Qadr. So you are giving us waqi', the reality, but then you are telling us religiously to be committed to the hukm al-zahiri, satisfaction. Satisfaction is what we are responsible for us. Okay, so that's what I have mentioned here. Are we required to the real ruling or the apparent? If the satisfaction is taken into consideration, then we will have multiple nights of Qadr and days of Eid. Thus, if we have to observe what appears to us from the responsibilities, then Sayyid Alkhoei, rahmatullah alayhi qudus sirruh, ruling observes the waqi'. This, when Sayyid Alkhoei explains his analogy, his argument, he's explaining, well, waqi'. For me, moon is out. But when will I take that out moon? So for me, I'm responsible for hukm al-zahiri according to his book of law. But the explanation he explains is hukm al-waqi'i. And that is a theoretical situation for the responsible person. If he considers in the moon sighting rules the factors of satisfaction, then that would lead to multiple Eids and multiple nights of Qadr. Therefore, the issue of the real birth of moon and being citable to the people of the earth is a real phenomena, such as less water having a drop of blood. Less water, there's a drop of blood in it. Okay, I can't see it because it's got dissolved in it. So now it's lying here. It's water. I come and I'm thirsty. I see it, water. It's water. I'll drink it. I know you'll say, ew, he drank blood. I did not say urine also. I don't know. Waqi'an, there is blood or not? Yes, there is. Do I know? No, you don't know. So can't I drink? Yes, you can drink. But I don't know there is blood in it. I don't know. So therefore, hukm waqi'an, there is blood. So waqi'an, moon is there. But for me, I am responsible for this zahiran. Okay, apparently. Okay, other guy came and he said, oh Sheikh, I want some water. Oh, please take this. No, Sheikh, a drop of blood fell in from me. Oh, what? Then I realized, oh my goodness. So for him, he cannot drink from this. For me, I could drink from it before I knew. So if I don't know, I can drink. If that person knows, he cannot drink. So there are 2 hukum zahiri, 2 apparent rules based on the knowledge His knowledge tells him you should not drink. You should not do wudu with it. Your wudu will be invalid. Your salat will be invalid. Your stomach will have haram in it. For me, if I do wudu with this, my wudu will be correct. My wudu will be correct. Though there's blood in it, but my wudu will be correct. Okay? Is there a problem or circumstances? Okay. So this one example I gave you, how hukm al-waqi'in, hukm al-zahiri, they are different. Reality is something, we don't have the knowledge of it unless we gain the knowledge of the reality. Okay, or we gain the satisfaction from the testimonies of others. What else other example I've given you? Meat, halal meat. Those who love grill meat and shut and bullar and those, the grill meat. Okay, you love this. You went to a store and there was a Muslim. Okay, the Muslim told you it is halal. We both went inside. My friend takes the laws as it is and he loves grill meat, but that satisfaction is not good. Satisfaction should be intellectual, based on intellectual and religious direction, not because I love grill meat, that's halal for me because he's Muslim. No, he goes inside. It happened in reality. So we both went inside. So he said, I'm going to eat this meat. I said, why? He's a Muslim. Okay. Did you ask him? He said, yeah. He says halal. You don't need to ask him. But the reason, so I told him, are you satisfied? He said, yes, Sheikh, I'm applying the rule of the marja. He says, why aren't you applying it? I told him, I'm not satisfied. Why? Look what he's selling. He's selling alcohol. Okay, for me, Muslim, meat is halal, everything is good, hukm al-zahiri, but I'm not satisfied because he's selling alcohol. How can a person sell alcohol and say, I'm selling halal meat? He said, but does the marja tell you like that? No, it's a point of satisfaction. I'm not satisfied that my source is there in front of you, in front of your eyes. If you're hungry, your hunger has made you satisfied, that's something else. So now, what happened? That he ate, I did not eat. He did not commit haram. I did not commit haram. Hukm al-zahiri, hukm al-zahiri. Reality, God knows better. Maybe he was slaughtering the goat. Bismillah, Allahu. So he's this, Bismillah. Instead of Bismillah, Allah Akbar, he sneezed on the goat and goat got coronavirus. Anyhow, so now the head got beheaded and he's a Muslim and he sells this meat. So zahiran, it is halal. But waqi'an, it is najis and haram. Okay, so there is a difference. So S Alkhoei, when he was arguing his theory, his students say he was arguing a real phenomena where we are required that, did we get that knowledge of that phenomena or not? So that is our responsibility. So exit of the moon from behind the shadow is a real phenomena for everyone. However, religiously, it's only applicable for those who have the satisfactory knowledge that it was in a citable position for the people of the earth by satisfactory sighting or satisfactory astronomical calculations. Thus, the factor of satisfaction leads the case of multiple Eid. So, Sayyidina, you try to avoid multiple Eid. Okay, you told the Mashhur, you guys are having multiple Eid and Eid is one. But you also got us into multiple Eid, Sayyidina. Does the moon, okay, this was number one. Number two, this is a very key issue and we don't have answer from S Alkhoei, at least for me. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma'allam. Maybe some other scholars, they might have answer. The students of S Alkhoei, they have concluded the answer from the words of S Alkhoei, but S Alkhoei has not clearly mentioned. And why? Because he did not have the data. He did not have the resources the way S Sistani has it now. You see how the fatwa is depending on the resources to understand the situation properly. So what is the issue? The issue is this: does the moon need to be in a citable position does the moon need to be in a sightable position? Or, sorry, it was done in the rush. I'll fix it later on because I don't have time. So does moon being in the sightable position, is it required for Sayyid Alkhoei for the sharing of the night? That when I'm like, let's say I'm in Najaf al-Ashraf, the moon was sighted, and you are in India or Indonesia, okay, where the moon was not sighted, but we shared the night. Najaf in Indonesia, we shared the night. We had a sunset, you are still a little bit left for the sunrise, or Fajr is still there before sunrise. Because according to Sayyid Alkhoei, sunset and sunrise are the criteria of night. So end of the night night is ending in Indonesia, night has started in Najaf. So can you people in Najaf or India take the sighting of Najaf? Because we have sharing of the night. Why not? Because in Indonesia, astronomically, that was impossible to be sighted. So the moon was not in the sightable position. So does Sayyid Alkhoei require the moon to be in a sightable position? Some said yes, some said no, from his wordings. And we will never know unless we resurrect Sayyid Alkhoei. Or his students, they come up with the stronger statements than the statement of Sayyid Alkhoei. So be it in the east or in the west, Sayyid Sistani say, no, wherever you go, the moon needs to be in the sightable position. The more you go, because he's focusing on the parameters of the moon to be in the sightable position. That's the black and white of Sayyid Sistani. You see? And the other Maraja, they had the, like sunset, sharing of the sunset, which Sayyid Sistani does not say. Let's say your region, we shared the sunset, but moon was not in a sightable position in your horizon. Will I be taking those who said absolutely sunset? Yes. But then they did not have these resources which Sayyid Sistani has. The moon sighting parameters, the moon sighting zones. So that's why we can't say that they were less knowledgeable or they made a mistake, or no. Their resources were not as the resources which Sayyid Sistani has in moon sighting issue. So now, so he says that, yeah, so this is a question, Sayyidna. Now let's take a ruling of Sayyid Alkhoei. Sayyid Sistani is similar ruling, but this is not available in Arabic book of law. It is in English. What does it show? It shows that Sayyid Sistani says you don't have to sight the moon. Where many people, they are like many traditionalists, Maulanas, Mullahs, Shuyukhs and Sayyids, the middle, they're not Maraja, and they're overriding the Maraja's fatwa. The Marja says you don't need to sight the moon. You can follow the astronomical calculations. You see the irony? Those who are supposed to pass the knowledge of the Maraja to the community, they have their own fatwas, own directions, overriding the Maraja. This is exactly, I've copy-pasted the word of Sayyid Alkhoei, and you will be surprised. And you say, oh, we never knew. Yes, because the shuyukhs, they never told the people, except for me. All my lectures, I have pointed on this. So there are few shuyukhs, like I say, Muhammad Ridwi in Toronto. There are shuyukhs, I know them. They have been truthful and trustworthy in passing the real direction of the Maraja. So Sayyid Alkhoei, look what he says in his book of law. And this is a Persian book of law, available also, same number of ruling. It's called Tawdihul Masail. Tawdihul Masail. So in Tawdihul Masail, Sayyid Alkhoei Quddasa Sirruh, yeah, ruling number 1741. Ruling number 1741. The first date of a moon is not proved. If you want, you can go to alislam.org and bring the Islamic law of Sayyid Alkhoei and follow with me. those people who are on Facebook and on YouTube. But here you can see, and I've kept the link also for you to confirm, because some people might deny this, some shiukhs might deny it, okay? So be careful. The first month, the first date of the month is not proved by the prediction of the astronomer. That's what we are telling you guys. It is not proven by the prediction of the astronomer. Wait, calm down, slow down, slow down. If somebody says La ilah, there is no God, don't tell them you're kafir. Wait until he continues, until he says illallah. There's no God except Allah. So I have not completed the ruling. Excuse me. Sorry, some technical problems. These technical things, they come up nowhere. Okay. Yes. I think that's much better. I don't need light. I have your light, the nur of the mu'mineen. Okay. You guys can take it or leave it. Okay, the moon. We're doing experiments on moon with the lights. Okay. So, yes. So the first date of a month is not proved by the predictions of astronomers. Astronomical calculations are all predictions. That's what we are telling you. Wait. However, focus on this. However, if a person believes, that means he gains knowledge in what they say, the astronomers. So knowledge, or is satisfied with it. If you don't get knowledge, but you are satisfied because their intellectual directions are strong. Where will you get knowledge? If you're expert and if you're an astronomer. When will you be satisfied? If you're not an expert and you're referring to the experts. So if the experts are all agreeing on one point, then that gives you satisfaction. Sometimes astronomers, especially in the beginning regions, sometimes one astronomer will say something, it started in Australia, some will say it started in Indonesia. There's a big distance. So when it starts, when they pinpoint the beginning of the moon sighting, I would not be satisfied. Why? Because they differ. But in the regions where they all share the same direction, same parameters, then that gives a person satisfaction. A lay person who's not an astronomer, he needs to gain satisfaction from the intellectual scientific sources. So, if coming back to Sayyid Alkhoei, we said Sayyid Alkhoei tried to make a unity of everything, unity of Eid, unity, but this satisfaction causes the multiplicity. If satisfaction is required, so there are shuyukhs, they are not satisfied. They don't know what astronomy is and what astronomy. They think that this is astrology. One of the shuyukhs is telling me, Sheikhna, are we going to go to the munajjimun? Kadhab al munajjimun awalaw sadaqu? These astrologers. Sheikhna, it is not astrology, it's astronomy. It's not that hocus pocus. It is no calculations of the sunset and the moonset and the sunrise and the moonrise and the distance of the earth and the distance of the, a lot of calculation, a lot of algebra is there, logarithm is there. It is not something like that. So there are many of our beloved ones, they don't know that there's a difference between astronomy and astrology. Okay, so this word which is translated, it is astronomy. If astrology, yes, I would say don't follow them. But astronomy, if it gives you satisfaction, Sayyid Alkhoei says he should, not he as an option. If you're satisfied that astronomers' calculations are accurate and good, and and they're all agreeing on their calculations in the region of the moon has to be sighted, then you should act. Then you don't have to see the moon. The moon, you don't have to sight the moon. So that's why we will end up into multiplicity emerges because of the date line. another issue in this sharing of the night. These are some thoughts, not Sayyidi Sistani. Some of the students, they raise these questions in the argument of Sayyid Alkhoei, seeking answer. So multiplicity emerges also in the date line. You know what's a date line? Not the date you eat, line of the date. No, the date line. There's a date line between, in Pacific Ocean, if you're traveling by plane from east to west, you will jump into 24 hours without living that day. You will lose one day of your life. So you are in Sunday, just you cross this line, the plane crosses this line, you are in Monday. So now you lost one full day. So he says, Sayyidina, this night, you said the day of Eid is one. When the night is sharing this area, where on the east it's Sunday, west it's Monday. So we got two Eids, Eid on Sunday and Eid on Monday. So we are trying to avoid multiplicity. Because of the sharing of the night, we have ended up into certain multiplicities. So let's see this sharing of the night. So as you can see, for the Facebookers and YouTube, this is what I'm showing them, okay? So you can go to timeanddate.com and you can find this time zone. How can I find out the sharing of the night? And you can go on moonsighting.com and see these parameters which Sayyidi Sistani takes it into observation. Very few Maraja, they do this. And Sayyidi Sistani, his arguments are based on these kind of calculations, the moon sighting zone. Okay, so as you can see that here, Sweden is 2 o'clock, Stockholm. The sun is going to rise after 2 hours. So still we are in the night. And you can see Texas and Mexico, Maghrib has already passed. Okay, so if they sight in Mexico, it will be good for Sweden. Even Najaf, you see, Najaf also sun has not risen yet. So we share the night. If you are in Najaf, you share the night with Mexico and Texas. If you are in Najaf, if you are in Texas, Mexico, and if you are in Sweden, you share the night with them. So what does that mean? Let's look at this moon sighting curve. So this red means it's a telescopic, moon can be sighted with difficulty through telescope. Gray zone, moon can be sighted, but with telescope. And then blue zone is moon can be sighted if the weather conditions were perfect. But moon is there. The idea is not about blue and green. Blue and green, astronomically, what is they are saying? They are saying the moon is in a condition, in a size, in a position, in an inclination with the earth and this and that. It is in the moon is in a sightable. That means if you look, the weather was clean, you would sight it. If not, you would find difficulty. But moon is there. Moon is there in the sightable condition. Now this year in Dhul Hajj, the moon was sighted in Najaf. Najaf was in the blue zone, you see? But this blue zone, this time, it did not pass through Sweden. So that's why we did not share, according to Sayyidi Sistani. We did not share the horizon. What is the horizon with Sayyidi Sistani? The parameters. So the parameters of moon sighting in Najaf, they were not there in Sweden. In Sweden, it was only telescopic in southern parts of Sweden. It was only telescopic sighting. So that was the issue. So now we come to these ishkalat, these issues in the map. So first thing we say, Sayyidina, the question which we hope we can see you in the dream and ask you, or some of your talented students we can tell us, that do you require, when you say sharing of the night, do you require that the moon is in a sightable condition in the region which share night, or you don't require? So as we can see, let's say the moon was sighted in this Ivory Coast in Africa, besides Senegal and Mauritania, in the west coast of Africa, Ivory Coast. So look at here. There is sharing of night with Iraq. There is sharing of night with Sweden. But Sweden, there is impossibility. There is no moon sighting. The moon is not in a position that is sightable for the people of the earth. Okay, so can they follow? Or this telescopic region, Najaf, can they follow Ivory Coast if they found out that the moon sighting was properly done? They share the night. That is the issue. These parameters were not available in the time of Sayyid Alkhoei the way they are now. Now it's easily. So that's why in his time, sharing of the night would be yes. As long as, because this parameter, so to Sayyid Alkhoei, yes, the moon is sighted here, the moon is sighted here, the moon is sighted, it is there. But if you did not see it because of the external factors, then that means the ray and all those kind of things, then you can consider it what? Eid tomorrow. So this is what is understood from the words. But the other students, they say, no. Sayyid Alkhoei said external factors, not the kauni factors, not the natural phenomena. Had Sayyid Alkhoei known that the moon is not in a sightable condition in Sweden, the moon is not in a sightable position in Najaf by naked eye, he might have said no. You sharing of the night wherever the moon is in your sky in a sightable condition. You share the night, but it was not sightable. But others, they say no. So there is a difference to followers of Sayyid Alkhoei in this. So is it sightable? Can we take their sight or not? So that is a big question. Let's go to the date line. So this is the date line. So as you can see, if the night from Australia till Chile, or from Japan till West Coast, California, there is a sharing of the night. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this sharing of the night curve. So Sydney and Santiago, I think it's Santiago, yes, in Chile. So the night is sharing. So that means if the moon is sighted in Sydney, it is good for Santiago, which is in the east. But Australia has Eid on Tuesday, and then Eid of Chile would be on Monday. So we have 2 days of Eid on the earth. Some are having Monday, some are having Tuesday. So how can you run away from this multiplicity? It's haunting you everywhere. Sayyid Sistani is in the safe zone. He says, I don't have any problem with multiple Eids. Sayyid Alkhoei had problem, and he tried to solve it. But wherever he tries to solve, something pops up. Okay? So Monday, Tuesday. So again, we have ended up into, because of the sharing of the night, because of the sharing of the night, this can be, but if, as I said, if Sayyid Alkhoei would alive, he would say, no, I don't consider that 2 days, because it's all 1 day. But Sayyidina, Monday, Tuesday, there are 2 days. So some people have Monday Eid, some people have Tuesday Eid. Okay. And let's say if these people of Monday, they sighted the moon, Chile, okay, and they share, let's say Sydney, Tuesday, they share. So if we say no, Chile will have it on Tuesday, next day, as Sayyid Alkhoei mentioned, next day, but this is sharing of the night, so they will have to have now. So if they are going to have now, they can't have it now, because it is not Tuesday, it is Monday. So if they have it now, then their Tuesday will, what will the Tuesday be? So is it Monday or Tuesday? Do we have to wait the whole 24 hours and do the Eid, take us Sydney's sighting, or can we take Sydney's sighting? According to the words of Sayyid Alkhoei, yes, because there is a sharing of the night. Santiago, Chile is in the east, Sydney is in the west. So yes, you apply. So then Sayyid Alkhoei said that those which were in the east, where the night did not share, they will take the next day. So again, we got into, if we say Monday, Chile will take, so we have 2 Eids, Monday, Tuesday. We have 2 nights of Qadr. Let's move on to the words of Sayyid Alkhoei and find out. So this is the summary of, now I'm going to say the summary and we'll start the argument of Sayyid Sistani. So still now we have not started argument of Sayyid Sistani. Yes, because that is all required for you to understand the argument of Sayyid Sistani Damadullah. Okay, so what was the Sayyid, see the words of Sayyid Alkhoei about that point we raised. وَبَعْدَ خُرُوجِ عَنْ حَالَةِ الْمَحَقِّ وَالتَّمَكُّنْ مِنْ رُؤْيَتِهِ. If you are able to see, that means ability to be citable. The moon, the previous month ends and the new month starts. For all the people of the earth. All the people of the earth. Okay, that is theoretical. That is the hukm al-waqi'i. Okay, but what about hukm al-zahiri, Sayyidina? What about this satisfaction? What about this issue of variances of the sharing of the night issues? وَإِنْ كَانَ الْقَمَرُ مَرْئِيًّا فِي بَعْضِهَا دُونَ الْأُخْرَى. He says, look at this. This is where the debate happens between students of Sayyid Alkhoei. وَإِنْ كَانَ الْقَمَرُ, even if the moon was in a sightable position in some places and not sightable in other places. Now this not sightable, is it due to the not sightable natural phenomena or is it due to the external factors? Some they say this natural phenomena is external factor. So it's inclusive. Even if you are not able to see, even if it is not in the sightable condition, it is Eid. So this is a group. Other group says, no, guys, look at the words of Sayyid Alkhoei. He says, وَذَلِكَ لِمَانِعٍ خَارِجِيٍّ, such as external preventing factor, which prevents you from sighting the moon. Sighting the moon, these factors, they prevent you sight the moon if is it in a sightable condition. It does not mention anything about moon not being in the sightable position. Did you get it? That's the thing that other students, they say, there's nothing. How can there be? The resources were not there in these sightable position. For Sayyid Alkhoei, once it's out sightable for everybody. Wherever the night comes, they can sight it. So that was his thing. So he says, كَشُعَاءِ الشَّمْس, example, the rays, strong rays, I can't see. Okay, strong rays of the sun. أو حيلولة بقاع الأرض, or the place you are in, it is covered with barriers, forests, trees, or rain, or cloud, all these kind of it. He did not mention due to the position of the moon itself not being in the sightable position. And that's a very serious observation. A serious observation, okay? If you don't get answer from Sayyid Alkhoei, you have to refer to somebody who is a marja, student of Sayyid Alkhoei, and he can clearly this point. Because nowadays these curves are there, okay? Like this curve I showed you. Here, we share the night, but moon is not in the sightable position. So what should I do? Should I follow or not? I'm following Sayyid Alkhoei. Refer to a mujtahid. Get a living mujtahid who has same concept of Sayyid Alkhoei. If you go to Sayyid Sistani, he'll tell you no. No, there is no moon in a sightable parameters. There are no parameters of sightable parameters there. How can you follow, even if they share the night? So you'll go to Sayyid Sistani, he'll tell you no. Because his theory is totally different. He doesn't look in the night dome, he looks at the parameters. But look at somebody who tells you the night, like Sheikh Al-Fayyad or Sheikh Wahid Al-Khurasani, and ask them, Sayyidina, Sheikhna, we have a problem. Sayyid Alkhoei did not mention clearly is sightable and non-sightable. So can you tell us, because these parameters are a bit new to our era. And Sweden, we don't have in a sightable condition, but we share the night with areas in Chile and Mexico and Texas. So should we take or not? So that is a very important question. Inshallah, I'll also try to find out, because this question came in my mind also by looking at the questions, and then I said, yes, this is a valid question, needs a clarification. So فإنه لا يرتبط بعدم خروجه من المحاق. So ضرورة أنه ليس لخروجه منه أفراد عديدة بل هو فرد واحد. He says it's one and only one, out. And if it's seen in any place on the earth, it's good for every earth. But due to some problems, technical problems, we will have to keep restrict. Then Sayyid Alkhoei's another argument was the authentic four narrations, they are absolute. The third one, أسألك بحق هذا اليوم, by the sake of this day, Eid. The fourth one was the night of Qadr, the night of Qadr. So Sayyid Alkhoei is going to respond to all this. Sayyid Sistani DZ is going to respond to all this argument. Today we are going to be able to only discuss the first argument. Next week, inshallah, we are going to take the remaining points of Sayyid Alkhoei. So he mentioned this. وَالتَّمَكُّنْ مِنْ رُؤْيَتِي وَإِنْ كَانَ, we mentioned this. Now, Sayyid Sistani. Sayyid Sistani, on his Sistani.org, in Arabic section, you will find fatwas. This booklet is not in English, it's in Arabic. I don't know whether it's translated, in the process of being translated or not, but it's a very important document. So I've roughly give a gist of translation in my session. So this PowerPoint slide has, and I've copy pasted the pages, some of the pages, and made the gist of it here. So whoever wants PowerPoint presentation can ask me, I can send it to him. So this, so Sayyid Sistani has on Sistani.org in Arabic, you choose Arabic, you'll scroll to the Kutub al-Fatwa'iyya, fatwa books, and you will find a book which is Al-Hilal, a book. Let me show you the cover page, if I can show you. Okay, so now let me share the screen just to let you know where to find this book of Sayyid Sistani's argument. Okay, so this is basically the page of Sayyid Sistani, Sistani.org. Okay, it's Arabic page. All these books are his fatwa books. Here, this in black. So it's not online, it's PDF. So you can download the PDF file. Okay, so this is what, and the book looks like this. Let me share again. And so the book is like this, all the way. أسئلة حول رؤية, question and answer. So one of his students has done it. However, it is approved by Sayyid Sistani DZ from Najaf al-Ashraf. So let's come back to our slide and finish our session of today. So we were discussing the response. So remember, Sayyid Alkhoei said that our ulamas, they compared, they did qiyas of Imam Abu Hanifa of Ahl Sunnah. That means they compared sunset and sunrise with the moon coming out of the shadow. They said that is totally different. So Sayyid Sistani says, yes, the emergence and being in a sightable position for the people of the earth is one of the phenomena. However, the reality is that the moon is lighted on one of its sides facing the sun, and other side is dark. So the moon is not like crescent. In reality, he says, Sayyidina, if you want to go to reality, and he discusses with utmost respect to Sayyid Alkhoei. قدس سره, قدس سره, may his soul be holified. Those kind of praise, respectful, very respectful. So he says that if we see the moon, in reality, this crescent is for us, the people of the earth. In reality, the moon, if we go to outer space, we'll see either moon, totally dark side or totally bright side. One side is dark, one side is bright. And slowly, when it comes to the shadow comes out, we start seeing the full side. We start seeing it partially growing. Okay, so this is what we see. So he says this is a relative issue. So the moon coming out, the moon is already there, the moon is out. You see, the only thing is we people of the earth, how much we see. So we are required with sighting. We are required sighting or being in a sightable position. That is our strong criteria. So if required sighting or being in a sightable position, then that is something relative. It could be sightable to you, it could be sightable to me, it could be sightable, not sightable to someone else. So here comes the knowledge of being sightable plus satisfaction. So he said it would be a full moon. Thus, the crescent is a position where it is related, Nisbi says, related to the side of the moon facing the earth as seen by someone from the earth. And it could only be considered one phenomena for the entire earth if it was a common practice urf approved by the religious authority. And that has not been proven because the urf, the common practice, only considers beginning of the month from the night. What is Sayyid Sistani trying to say? This is his key point. This urf, this is, remember, the hadith, the narrations are absolute, correct? The narrations are absolute. It's inclusive to anything you decide. If a region, moon is sighted, it is inclusive for your region. Now, you could say sunset, you could say night, you could say land, because they all fall under this absoluteness. So which one do you choose? Okay, Sayyid Alkhoei chose the anywhere, but then he had to restrict it with night. So again, the absoluteness was restricted by scientific phenomena. Sayyid Alkhoei says, Sayyid Sistani says, I'm going to use urf. I'm going to use restriction. The hadith is restricted without any doubt. But the restriction could be science, could be urf, common practice, norm. So Sayyid Sistani's key argument is common practice, norm. Okay, he says the urf, or the common practice, only considers beginning. So that means the urf does not consider the moon coming out. No, the urf considers the moon coming out in a sightable position sighted in the region, community. So in the time of our Imams, alayhi salatu wasalam, Imams observed them for 250 years. How did they practice? How was it practiced? Remember, the hadith is absolute. If it's cited here, it's cited here. No details. Now, Sayyid Alkhoei kept a detailed sharing of the night restriction. Sayyid Sistani says the parameters. But before he goes there, he wants to respond to Sayyid Alkhoei's argument. At this point, Sayyid Sistani is not presenting his, he's responding. He's saying that there's a problem. Because if you say night, sharing of the night, is start of the night, and start of the night happens with the sunset. Okay, so the urf, the community, they were practicing certain norm in the times of our Ma'soom alayhi salatu wasalam, and that is to take the regional sighting and the sighting of the neighboring cities which are in a reachable position. They can reach to them. Okay. Okay, so wabil jumla, in conclusion, he says, ما ذكر من الفرق في حالات he says these kind of things, the day and night variances. So he supports the concept of the month, of a month that should start from the night with authentic narration. This is not a response to Sayyid Alkhoei. It would have been response to Sayyid Alkhoei if Sayyid Alkhoei would not have kept night. But there are others, I told you, they did not keep this clause of night. They went into a problem. So see, this is the beauty of the arguments and discussion in Hausa. You try to patch up your argument, there's some loophole. Another mujtahid comes inside and shatters it down. And then he makes his argument, another mujtahid comes and finds a loophole and goes inside and shattered. So it's all about the beauty of discussion, that ironclad argument. So Sayyid Alkhoei, if he had kept only without night, the moon is out, it's out for the people of the earth. So you share the night, you don't share the, it's all for the people of the earth. Then we had problem of the date line, okay? So the date line, which we said, that problem, there are other problems which might encounter. So the restriction. So Sayyid Sistani says that Sayyid Alkhoei became aware about this, so he made the night issue. So the start of the month is the night, sharing of the night is the start. So in this point number 1, he's responding to those. He said, why should we observe the night? He said in the authentic narration of Hammad, if they sight crescent before the noon time, so let's say they saw the moon in the daytime. So he says, if they sight before the noon time, so it is for the previous night. If they sight after the noon time, so this is for tonight. That means tomorrow is going to be Eid. Again, the hadith indicates, if they sight the moon before Dhuhr, before noon, that means today is the day of Eid. If they sight the moon after Dhuhr, that means tomorrow is the day of Eid. So the night, so he said the night is the criteria, the night. Then it would be from the last night, the day, the sighting, the day of the sighting would be considered the first day of the month, because it is linked with the past night, not linked, okay? It is linked with the past night. So if you look before Dhuhr, that means it is connected with the previous night. That means today is Eid. If you sight the moon after Dhuhr, that means it's connected to the tomorrow. That means tomorrow is Eid. So Dhuhr was made the criteria, but the night was the one focused on. When is the night? He says, لِلَيْلَتِهِ السَّابِقَةِ. The word used in the hadith was لِلَيْلَتِهِ السَّابِقَةِ. The word Layla. So that's why Sayyid Sistani says that this is, and he says that that's why Sayyid Alkhoei was able to avoid the problems and consequences by putting the night. So he also supports it with another narration. He says that that is why Sayyid Alkhoei restricted the sharing of the night, and the eastern regions which do not share the night with the region of the sharing sighting, their first day would be the next day. Like all the way in Australia, the moon was sighted in Najaf. Australia does not share the night with Najaf. In that case, you will not share. And here also, so sharing of the night, the regions of sighting, the next day. So multiple day, again, Sayyidina, you are avoiding multiple Eids. That again, we are back into the multiple days of Eid. By how? Because those regions before the night, they cannot take Monday's sighting. Okay, so they will have to come all the way when the 24-hour passes. Then, so they will have Tuesday. So Monday, Tuesday. So we have multiple Eid. Okay. Since Sayyid Alkhoei was committed to the concept of the sharing of the night, then he made a shift from one Eid, one Eid day absolutely to multiple days relatively. So there's a nisbah. You see the problem here that Sayyid Sistani focuses a lot on this nisbah. It's a relative thing. It's a nisbah. Okay. It's something not. Please turn off your mic, please. Microphone. So it is a nisbi thing, a relatively thing. So there is a shift. So Sayyid Alkhoei, to prevent himself from a complication, he went the sharing of the night. Once our problem solved, yes, the Eid day starts from the night, the Eve, like Christmas Eve, Eid Eve, Ashura Eve. So the day starts from the Eve. That was practiced in the norm of Arabs in the time of our Ma'sumin alayhi salam. So, but then he went back again into the multiplicity of the Eid, because what about the eastern regions where the night was not sharing? So he says that this is another issue which is problematic. So sharing of the night, we'll now look at here, again, he gives an example also, astronomical example. He says, if, where did it go? Yes, if it was sighted in Mauritania, Nouakchott. This is Nouakchott, yani above Ivory Coast. Okay. Again, we are looking at the curve, Moonsighting curve. Okay. I'll upload this also on YouTube. So those people who are on YouTube and Facebook, they were not able to come into Zoom. They will be able to get the hang of it on the Zoom. So this moon sighting. So let's say it was sighted in Nouakchott. I'm using the word of S Sistani in Mauritania. Okay. ولكن كان ذلك بعد انقضاء الليل في Sydney. It was after the night has passed. So Sydney, there is no astronomical possibility. Okay. Or there, even if there was, the night has passed Sydney. So now this Nouakchott sighting is not enough. So Sydney will have tomorrow Eid. So that's the multiplicity again. So he says ولكن التزام إقرار بأن بداية الشهر القمري أمر نسبي يختلف باختلاف بقاع الأرض. So he says by this, when he puts the sharing of the night, what is he trying to tell us? Sayyid Sistani says, indirectly, Sayyid Alkhoei is telling us that Eid is not one. Is going against his theory. That is Sayyid Sistani's argument. So Mujtahid, mashallah. And so he says that Sayyid Alkhoei is ولكن في التزامه قدس سره بهذا. The Sayyid Alkhoei, when he says sharing of the night, it will lead to multiplicity of the Eid on the face of the earth, which he did not want to, which he did not claim. He claimed Eid is one. مع أن هذا نحو من النسبية. It's the whole moon sighting issue is a relative thing. There's a relativity هناك. مقتضى القول بين العبرة. So the common practice of the Arab. So this is, I say, this is Sistani's argument. I'll sum up and we'll be done today. The common practice of the Arabs to rely on the lunar calendar due to its easiness. Every normal person could define the beginning of it by moon sighting without any requirement for complicated calculations of the days, and as it is observed in the solar calendars. Solar calendars are purely based on calculations. It's not by observation. If you just like, we don't know when the month starts, when the month ends. Some defined 21 March, some defined 1st January, some defined all the solar calendars have different days. But lunar calendar, they all agree, moon sighted, you start. And there's a cycle of about 30 days. And moon sighted again, so they could divide the month easily, the lay people. So it was more easily practicable. So the whole criteria of moon sighting is focused on the urf. So Sayyid Sistani says, I'm going to use the urf. Sayyid Alkhoei used the night issue. He restricted the hadith with night. I'm going to elaborate the hadith, those 4 hadith, with the urf, common practice. It was practiced in front of the infallibles, alayhi salatu wasalam. And to go to the sharing of the night, it would have been depending on the calculations. Our imams, they were expert. There were experts there without any doubt. But lay people, they could not do that. Everyone could. So this, the sighting the moon, calendar starts tomorrow, first day, everybody could do it. The Bedouin and the civilized, Sayyid Sistani says. The concept of sharing of the night specifically with the distant lands, far, Sydney and, Najaf and Sydney, or Nouakchott and Najaf, Mauritania, or Mexico and Sweden. So people distant was not practicable for the people. So they don't know practice. So because there were no way for them to find out and confirm about the date in the distant lands without relying on sophisticated, accurate scientific calculations or fast communication system. Therefore, the norm was in to rely on your basic capacities and basic wherever you can reach out. They would even never wait for the news to arrive from distant lands. Like nowadays, we sit on the telephone, oh, From Mexico, from Spain, from this, from Brazil, from everywhere. We just have the night of Eid is the busiest night. Our phone never stops. There are people that are asking for sighting. There are people that we are calling them to confirm that there is sighting or not. So distant lands, they would not wait. Finish. You sighted, get it on. You did not sight, tomorrow is your 30th. You don't need to wait. Therefore, the norm wasn't such. They would never wait for the news to arrive from distant lands. If the moon was not sighted in their regions, they would declare it 30th, finish. Tomorrow is 30th of the holy month of Ramadan or 30th of Sha'ban. Islam approved such practice without requiring the concept of sharing of the night. So Sayyidi Sistani says, our A'immas, alayhim salam, they acknowledge this practice. They did not say, no, wait, maybe the moon is sighted there, okay? And he continues, he says, in sum, without any doubt, that was the criteria practiced by the Arab. When Islam came, did not present any newer method, as mentioned by Sayyid Alkhoei, rahmatullah alayh. Neither prevented them to practice what they used to practice, the way their norm. If there was, it would be, if there was a new, like Sayyid Alkhoei's method was there, it would have been narrated abundantly, due to the need of the people to know about such issue, because it's a very commonly used. Everybody, Hajj depending on moon sighting, holy month of Ramadan depending on moon sighting, okay? All the Eid, fasting on the Eid al-Adha is haram. So all these, there are days we have, our lunar calendar, they depend on moon sighting. That was the first thing. The norm, he says, the norm was in such your city or city close to you. That was the norm, and that was approved. So hadith is talking, the hadith is not totally absolute. The hadith is restricted to the norm which was practiced in the times of Ma'sumin alayhim salam, and that is not inclusive to the norm of sharing of the night. That's Sayyidi Sistani. The second, he says that overlapping of the night. He said, if we say that 12 hours before, like we have what they say, Spain, Andalus, and we have India. Okay, so now India, there was no moon sighting possibility. We said there was no, but it was sharing the night with Spain. No moon sighting probability at all, but there is night. It is ending. Spain, the night is starting. So there is a kind of range. Okay, there is a kind of range of sharing of the night. In the sharing of the night, one region, this night, half of it is for past day, other half is for the new day. So he says, أن مقتضى الالتزام بدخول الشهر في البلاد الواقعة في شرق بلد الرؤية. Because the eastern regions, they share the night, okay, with the western region where the moon was sighted. It is one night, but there are 2 months overlapping on it. بأن يكون أولها اللحظة التي رؤي الهلال. In the west, you sighted the moon, that's the beginning of the month. But then all the previous places, there was no moon sighting, or the moon was not even in the sightable position. So how can we consider that from this month, tomorrow, from new month? It's old month. So this is basically these nights, the nights in 12 hours, they overlap from previous month's nights to this month's nights. So if you say it was sighted in Spain, in India, how can India follow Spain? Because India, they still have their night to complete on the previous night because they don't have any possibility of the moon sighting. وأما ابتداء الشهر فيها قبل قابلية الهلال للرؤية. Again, Sayyidi Sistani has this parameter to be sightable. As Sayyidi Sistani is, I can sense that Sayyidi Sistani feels that Sayyid Alkhoei would also consider this parameter. But then if he would consider this parameter, then the parameters of moon being insightable. But that has to be the norm, because sighting is the criteria. Whether astronomically, astronomers, they need to tell us it's in the sightable condition, or sighted, or people. Sighting is the whole key issue here. Whether astronomically, predictions satisfactory, or by sighting. So the key. So it was not in a sightable condition. That means it is going against the direction of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam about the concept of sighting. And the moon being sighted, the moon starts with the concept of sighting as the urf. The point number one was urf. قابلية الهلال للرؤية أي في أي مكان في الأرض وكل الأمرين بعيد عن المرتكزات العرفية. He says even this overlapping, even if we divide the night, okay, and even if we say that the night was not, the region did not have any ability to be sighted, all these are not available, away from the custom norm. So he says that second point, overlapping of the nights from both months. Sheikh, please edit these slides after listening to, because I was in rush, so there has been a lot of spell mistakes. In the region in which crescent has been sighted is the start of the new month, which shares the night in the east, a region where the moon was not sightable. So it was not the past, it was from the past month. However, since it shares with the region where the moon was sighted, this is just because that India has to be first day tomorrow. Why? Just because it shares 12 hours or 14 hours of sharing of the night, it shares. That is why, for example, India has to follow, but India has still not completed its past month. Its night is still finishing. Says no. India is in the Fajr time. The sun is going to rise. They miss their whole night of Amal and whatsoever. So if you share the night, all your Amals are gone. Oh no. So what about night as Qadr is past, babe? Your night as Qadr is gone, because they are going to enjoy. It's already sunrise. That means all my night has gone, and I was expecting tomorrow to do my Amal of Laylatul Qadr. So no. I will do my Amal. I'm going to have it tonight. Tonight is my night of Qadr. So see, the problem with overlapping, these people, they're going to enjoy the Amal Qadr. They are not going to be able to enjoy. So that's the thing, that there's a kind of, and this is not observed. This was not observed by the Urf, the issue of night. How could that be observed in the time of Ma'sumin, where it was not, these distant lands were not in a reachable capacity of them. Similarly, considering the beginning of the month, before the probability of sighting in any place of the earth, specifically in the east of the region where it is sighted, it is away. How can even I be taking the place where the moon is not in a sightable condition but shares night with me? How can I take it as a place where I can share, where I can consider it a place where it is Eid tomorrow, and the moon was not even in a sightable? Sayyid Sistani has this. Sayyid Alkhoei did not make it clear in the sharing of the night. He did not say with the condition that the moon has to be in a sightable position in your region if you share the night with the region where the moon is sighted. If he had said this, maybe if he was alive, he would have added it after these resources. But because he did not say it, so that indicates that it's an absolute. That means even if the moon is not in a sightable condition, that is what Sayyid Sistani understands from the words of Sayyid Alkhoei. He says that even if it was not in a sightable condition, قبل الهلال قبل قابلية الهلال للرؤية, before the crescent being in a sightable condition, he says this is not to rely on such just because of sharing of the night. It is not observed. And the third one is, this is a very nice point. I'm going to take a few minutes, and this is a very beautiful point, easy point. He's saying, Sayyidina al-Muqaddas, Sayyid Alkhoei RA. If you say Spain, the moon is in a sightable condition, sharing the night with Baghdad or Najaf al-Ashraq, Kufa or Medina al-Munawwara. What are you telling us, Sayyidina Alkhoei? The Sayyid Sistani caught a technical point here. He says, are you telling us that our Imams, alayhimus salam, they were fasting haram fasting? I mean, they were doing haram because if Spain shares the night, so if Spain, the moon is sighted, it's in a sightable condition, and Imams, they have the knowledge of astronomy. They have the knowledge. We Shia, followers of Ahlul Bayt, we believe our Imams, they had the knowledge. If Sayyid Alkhoei is a mathematician and a giant in algebra, so we are not going to and we have Imam Ali alayhi salatu, he said theories in mathematics. Nowadays they are discovering, wow, so deep algebra Imam Ali alayhi salam had. So that's the thing. So our Imams, they had the knowledge of algebra, they had the knowledge of mathematics, they had the knowledge of astronomy. So what does that mean, Sayyidina? Sayyidina, because if you say that Imams, if sharing of the night, Medina shares the night, or Baghdad shares the night, or Samarra shares the night with Spain, and Spain was in a sightable condition, the moon, and Imams, they did not take it, that means they fast. So that means they fast haram. So either Sayyidina, you will have to say, no. The sharing of the night is not the concept we observe. Or we say, what? We say that that means Eastern regions cannot follow the Western regions. You have to say like that, Sayyidina Alkhoei. Otherwise, you will say, you are telling us that Imams, they did Hajj on Arafat. I mean, they did Eid on Arafat. They fasted on the 30th of holy month of Ramadan. And they missed the first day of holy month of Ramadan. Are you telling us that's Sayyidina Alkhoei? So Sayyid Alkhoei, some of the students of Sayyid Alkhoei said that our A'immas, alayhim salam, they came to guide, they came to teach to the capacities available in their reach. They did not have this capacity of finding out. Even I told you, this is recently with the telegrams and telephones, we were able to find out from distant lands. So Sayyid Alkhoei made it inclusive and brought the sharing of the night. Otherwise, their reach. So our A'immas, they gave us, now our capacities are wider, so we can go with our capacities. But our A'immas in their time, they gave them their capacities. And according to their capacities and according to reach and their abilities. So what does that mean? That Imam is fasting haram to guide the people? No. First of all, Imam is not fasting haram. We don't know whether Imam was fasting or breaking his fast, number one, on the day of Eid. No, they pray Salat al-Eid. You are fasting, you pray Salat. Followers of Sayyid Sistani pray Salat al-Eid on the day of Sayyid Alkhoei. That doesn't mean their fast is going to be broken or something. So so there is a kind of direction that our A'immas, I'll give you an example. Our A'immas, alayhim salam, they can sense the haram. I know some Urafa youth, some youth, they have this Irfanism. They keep themselves from haram. So whenever haram comes closer to them, food or activity, they sense something is wrong, something is bad. When they eat something, oh, something is bad, something is wrong. I don't feel comfortable. Why? They have cleaned their system. When there's a clean system, when a spot of darkness or filth goes, it's realized. Some of them, they can feel, okay, this. So our A'immas, when haram is in front, they could sense the haram. They could sense, they could smell, not physical smell, they could feel that there's a haram in this. So our A'immas, so there's a story in a hadith mentioned, and this was a direction given for the people if they fall into similar circumstances. What is this hadith? This hadith says that a guy comes to Imam alayhi salatu wasalam. He gives him eggs. I don't know, baked eggs, fried egg, whatever, boiled egg, whatever. He gives eggs. Imam eats. Good eggs. You know, Imam, I won these eggs in gambling. What? And he immediately bring me a bowl, and he started vomiting all the things. So now here's the thing. Didn't Imam know that that is haram? So some people say, yes, he knew. Then why did he eat? To educate others that if accidentally you eat something haram, you can vomit it out. Okay? So, but he ate, yes, but it did not get mixed in his blood. Immediately it was expelled. So haram did not enter the stomach of the Imam. So it was an educational process, according to some ulamas. Some ulamas, they reject it totally. Now look at the benefit. I was in the United States. I had this one of amazing, fantastic African-American brothers. He embraced Islam, and he became follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam by search, by intellect. And he was very cautious about this junk food, because all his life he has been eating junk food and haram food and this. So now he wants to filter, clean, drain himself. So now, and there was a Palestinian brother, he invited him on a lunch. So he goes there, and he thinks that every Muslim is like angel. He's new to Islam, he doesn't know. And we have hypocrites worse than wrong peoples. Anyhow, so he said, is it halal? He said, yes. So Bismillah, he ate. So he ate. Where did you get this? He said, I got it from this Netto or HEB or Kroger or whatever groceries we have now, Salisbury. What? He said, bathroom. He says that the guy thought that I've got diarrhea. I ate this. And so he's, okay, fadal. So he showed him bathroom. He vomited everything out. He didn't want this haram to be part of his body. This is a newcomer to Islam, my beloved one. And look at the Muslims, many of them. McDonald's, this and that, negligence, gelatin, this and that. Come on. We are by name Muslim, but worse than Muslim if we are not following Islam. And that guy embraced Islam. And I've seen many of like these in United States and in UK. They're more cautious, more careful than many of our Muslims. I'm not saying all of our Muslim and all our beloved ones are. No, Alhamdulillah, we have amazing, fantastic brothers and sisters who are originally Muslim. But on the other side, we have those kind of negligence. But then and you can see there are people who embrace Islam. They are like these amazing brothers and sisters. So I'm not saying we don't have any original Muslims who are cautious. No, we have also, mashallah. I've seen them a lot. Wherever they go, they want to check ice cream. What does the ingredients? Ice cream. With this, that, everything they check when they buy from the grocery. So anyhow, so he says that, so the others, they say no, haram could never end. They said, so there's a debate. Because haram did not enter. If Imam would not have vomited, this brother would not have been learned, because he learned from the Imam that whenever you get haram inside, just vomit it out immediately. Don't let it mix with your blood. And we know that scientifically it takes time to go inside your blood. So anyhow, so therefore, but that's debated. So Sayyid al-Sistani raises this issue. He captures Sayyid Alkhoei like that. Sayyidina, are you saying that Imams, therefore, this sharing of the night is a valid concept, and Imams are doing wrong Hajj, Imam are doing wrong? Because it says majority of the time, these areas in the West, they sight the moon, and we do not sight, and we share the night, but they're far away. So, and like nowadays, it is happening nowadays, he said. So he's looking at the astronomical data. So he says that, let me just quickly go through of the third point, the concept of taking the sighting of the far countries leads to the the fast of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Imams alayhi salam, their Hajj and all their deeds related to the specific days of the lunar calendar were most of it not done in its real days, because it is obvious that they peace be upon them, used to rely on the beginning of the lunar months on the sighting in their cities or the cities closer to their cities. Because looking at the computer data, now Sayyidi Sistani is bringing out scientific data. Science, Sayyidi Sistani using science here, remember astronomy. He brought out scientific data. And he noted that a lot of days, which we have dates from our A'immas, alayhim salam, that Spain, there was a probability of sighting. Other places, there were probability of sighting. So the sighting probabilities were there. Are you telling us, Sayyidina, that Imams did not know? Then you are going to get into trouble of Imam being ignorant. And if you are going to tell us that Imam knew, then you are going to get into trouble of Imams who are committing haram. Their Hajj was not right, their fasting was not right. So after checking, Sayyidi Sistani says, after checking many instances, moon was sightable on Friday. In other places, and Medina in Iraq, it was not. So they, peace be upon them, would practice their worship according to their region or closer to it. So he says, we look at the computeria al-haditha, this modern computer presentations of moon sighting and all this, we can track this out for thousands of years, alaf is-sinin. So we can find out now. We can find out our imams on which days they did Eid in lunar calendars, in which year, and it was according to which day, and was the moon in a sightable condition or not. He says, بمراجعة البرامج الكمبيوترية الحديثة التي تبين أوضاع القمر لآلاف السنين, past thousands of years, and we can make similar to past thousands of coming years, he says. So, so then, he says the Imams were knowledgeable in the astronomy and mathematics, and some in their time were experts in such. It would not be difficult for such to find out the size and the location of the crescent in other regions based on certain calculations, and such would not require ghaib, ilm al-ghaib. They don't need to use ilm al-ghaib, okay? Because ilm al-ghaib comes because they were educationalists. So we all agree they were educationalists. They were there to educate people. And they don't need to use ilm al-ghaib to educate. They were mathematicians. They were scientists. They do astronomy. They know calculations. Such would not require. However, they did not use it, Sayyidina Alkhoei. So if they had used it to find out about sighting of distant lands. So this is a serious issue. That means that sharing of the night was not observed by our Ma'sumin. They knew everything about sharing of the night, but they did not practice it. That means it's not required by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the Western regions, the Eastern regions should follow the Western regions if they share the night. And I think I will have to, the fifth point, inshallah, we'll do next week. And this hadith, in summary, this is where Sayyidi Sistani used scientific direction. Look at this beautiful point here. A guy wrote a letter from Baghdad to Medina to Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salam. So Imam Hassan al-Askari wrote a letter to him back. So the date of Imam Hassan al-Askari is indicates it was Tuesday. That means Wednesday was 30th Sha'ban. So Imam Hassan al-Askari did fast the first of the holy month of Ramadan on Thursday. Focus would mean Thursday. This is what I need you to remember. Imam Hassan al-Askari wrote a letter. In that letter there was a date, and that the Thursday, according to that date, either Wednesday or Thursday. Moon was not sighted on Tuesday night, so they completed. So Imam says that one day left in Sha'ban, that was 30th of Sha'ban. So the Thursday was the last day of the Thursday was the first day of the holy month of Ramadan. So in the letter they asked him, Imam wrote, they said from Baghdad, Sayyidina, we fasted on Thursday. Was it right? Imam says, لَقَدْ صُمْتَ بِصِيَامِنَا. You fasted our fast. That means we were fasting also on Thursday. So Imam was fasting when? Thursday. The first day of holy month of Ramadan was when? Thursday. Are you with me? So this is the hadith. Now look how Sayyid Sistani connects the hadith with scientific data, astronomical data. He went and dug all the data of the time of this letter written. Subhanallah. And people, they are saying, our Maraja, they are backwards, behind this, and shame on them. Shame on those people who do not realize. He took this hadith, the date and the year 232 Hijrah. Which was the date? It was the first day of holy month of Ramadan. On when? On Thursday. He dug out information, astronomical information. He found out that in Africa, which shares the night with Medina and Baghdad, in North America, South America, on 20th April, okay, which was Tuesday night, the night Imam wrote the letter. The night Imam wrote the letter, that night, the moon was in a sightable condition. The moon was sightable condition in astronomy with clarity on so that Wednesday would be the first holy month of Ramadan. Where? In South Africa, in Africa, in the Africa, like the whole continent. قارة الأفريقية, he said, والأمريكتين. So he said, so his first day of holy month of Ramadan was not on Thursday, according to the sharing of the night. It was supposed to be on Wednesday. When did Imam fast his first day? Thursday. Did he use sharing of the night? Sayyid Sistani says, Sayyidina, he did not use. He did not use sharing of the night. Otherwise, so the sharing of the night was not observable by Aimma. Otherwise, their Hajj would be invalid. Their fast would be invalid. They'd be committing haram, fasting on the day of Eid. And so all this is a very unique technical catch on that argument. But if Sayyid Alkhoei was alive, he would have done something. So don't jump, but the resources, as I mentioned. So this is all for today. I really apologize because it was a very important topic, because majority of followers of Sayyid Sistani, they want to know, why can't we follow this country, that country? Now you will know that you are in a safe side, because this is a very unique theory of Sayyid Sistani Damadullah, because he has the resources and the way he catches things and connects it with astronomy. So please, whenever the people, other ulamas, they do Eid, and you're follower of Sayyid Sistani, say Alhamdulillah and enjoy one extra day of holy month of Ramadan, and next day you do your Eid according to the direction of Sayyid Sistani. You'll be one day extra guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. More than that, because the sharing of the night theory, our Imams alayhi salam, they did not practice it, that the West, if it is citable in Western region, Eastern region can follow. And still the argument is not done. So in summary, Sayyid Sistani uses the urf, the common, to restrict those 4 hadith, and then he uses the astronomical data to respond and to the problems with the sharing of the night theory, especially for the Eastern regions following the Western regions if the moon was sighted in the Western regions. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.